Sarah was listening from behind the wall of a tent. Outside, 3 unexpected visitors were sharing a meal with Abraham. Then one of them made a promise so impossible that Sarah laughed quietly to herself. She thought no one had heard her. But the visitor asked a question that reached through the tent wall and through years of disappointment. Is anything too difficult for the Lord? It happened near the great trees of Mamre during the hottest part of the day. Abraham was sitting at the entrance of his tent when he looked up and saw 3 men standing nearby. He did not know everything about them yet, but he recognized that this was no ordinary moment. Abraham hurried from the shade to meet them. He bowed low and asked them not to pass by. He offered water for their feet, rest beneath the tree, and a little food before they continued their journey. The visitors agreed. Immediately, the quiet camp became busy. Abraham hurried to Sarah and asked her to prepare bread from fine flour. Then he selected a good young calf and gave it to a servant who prepared it quickly. Abraham brought curds, milk, and the meal, then stood near the visitors beneath the tree while they ate. This was generous hospitality. Abraham did not offer the bare minimum. He welcomed strangers with attention, effort, and honor. Then the conversation changed. The visitors asked, "Where is your wife Sarah?" Abraham answered that she was there, inside the tent. One visitor declared that he would return at the appointed time the following year, and Sarah would have a son. Behind him, near the tent entrance, Sarah heard every word. The promise was not new. God had already told Abraham that Sarah would become the mother of the promised child. Their names had changed from Abram and Sarai to Abraham and Sarah, signs that God was still carrying his covenant forward. But the years had also carried something else: delay. Abraham and Sarah were old. Sarah was about 90, and the natural season for bearing children had passed. So Sarah laughed within herself. It was not the laughter of celebration, not yet. It was the small, guarded laugh of someone who had waited so long that hope now felt dangerous. Could joy really arrive after all these years? Could an aging body receive what time appeared to have taken away? Could the promise still be true? Then the Lord asked Abraham why Sarah had laughed. The hidden reaction was not hidden after all. And then came the question at the heart of the story: is anything too difficult for the Lord? The promised time was repeated. Within a year, Sarah would have a son. Sarah became afraid and denied laughing. But the response was calm and direct. She had laughed. God did not expose Sarah to humiliate her. He confronted the doubt she was trying to hide and brought her back to the promise. Her fear was real. Her age was real. The long delay was real. But none of those realities were greater than the one who had spoken. The teacher's lesson. Sarah's laugh shows us that doubt is not always loud rebellion. Sometimes doubt sounds like a quiet reaction behind a wall. It grows after disappointment, delay, and unanswered questions. The story does not tell us to pretend that impossible circumstances are easy. Sarah was not asked to ignore her age or erase the pain of waiting. Instead, she was invited to measure the impossible against God's power. Honest doubt can be confronted with hope. Abraham's welcome also matters. Before he understood the full purpose of his visitors, he made room for them. He offered rest, water, and food. Generosity turned an ordinary-looking arrival into a sacred encounter. Sometimes the moment that renews hope enters quietly, through a conversation, an open door, or a promise we had almost stopped expecting. Sarah laughed because the promise sounded impossible. Soon, that same promise would give her a reason to laugh with joy. But first, the visitors rose and looked toward a troubled city called Sodom. Abraham walked with them, unaware that he was about to plead for lives, including the family of his nephew Lot.